tab out for some reason, it stops the video. But let's take a look at this. This is that Outward 2 gameplay preview.
Outward 2 is an upcoming open-world RPG. The first Outward was one of my favorite games, and I have a lengthy video review for that. But the short version is that the Outward series has challenging combat with no difficulty selection.
Do you guys hear the audio? Does it all sound good on stream? Before I go any further, I want to make sure everything actually sounds proper. As long as things are good. Okay, you hear it? Cool.
It has no map markers, and it has adopted some survival elements.
Right off the bat, that looks like a new back hop attack.
Has challenging combat with no difficulty selection.
What the Sigma?
It has no map markers.
See that? That's 100% a back hop attack.
Can we murder James?
And it has adopted some survival elements to encourage careful preparation and play.
And now you're gonna say
according to the developer 9 Dots.
The models look a lot better in this game.
The sequel will continue that tradition,
Yo, you're on your own
but will also have a higher production value and much more polish.
Okay, I'm just gonna...
I got the opportunity
I'm glad I've never owned a Fallout game.
Same.
Also have a higher production.
I played New Vegas. New Vegas is
buy a
good.
Fallout game, don't buy New Vegas.
Alright, well shut your bitching. I'm talking about Outward. Shut up.
Value and
Both
much more
of you are
polish.
fat.
I got the opportunity to play a
So the
demo of
animations
Outward
already
2,
look a lot
and
better
in this
in
video
this game.
I'll be giving you my impressions of that. The demo had no story or NPC interactions.
New backpack.
It was a gameplay-oriented
That's
demo.
a familiar backpack. That is the Monsoon backpack.
The demo had no story or NPC interactions.
That one right there. That's
it
the
was a
Monsoon one, I believe.
gameplay-oriented demo. Its purpose was to show the difference and improvements between combat in the first game and the second.
From
so that's what I'm going to focus on
Rising
here.
Revengeance.
The biggest takeaway is that combat in Outward 2 is much smoother.
Dude, there's dual wielding!
Is that combat in Outward 2
That's
is
a
much
mace
smoother.
in the offhand.
In Outward 1, there was a significant delay between performing one action and beginning another. And the delay is lengthier than it is in other commitment-oriented games. Things like Elden Ring and Lies of P. Commitment is important to all the games of this type, because the combat in all of them revolves around finding opportunities and paying a cost if you attack when you shouldn't. But in Outward 1, there was an unusual clunkiness to it.
100,000%.
When I asked about this change, the developers explained that the delay in some attacks in the first game were to the point of being unrealistic. The point of Outward gameplay is about being a nobody. You're a...
What the fuck is that thing? What the fuck is that thing? Look, guys, it's Sheems. They put Sheems in the game.
How about I say a slur?
being a nobody. You're a ordinary person that is attempting to go on an
I cannot see it because I got
adventure.
an ad and it minimized
And so
the stream
commitment
for
to
some
attacks
reason.
is important. But in the first game, some of those delays were large
Ew.
enough that ordinary people
How's
playing
the
the game
pull-up
would think
stream?
to themselves, well, even I can move faster than that.
God, I hate Twitch ads.
The character
Could move
models look a
faster than
lot
that.
better. Like,
The
generally.
game would
The
think to
women
themselves,
actually look like
well,
women
even
now.
I could move faster than that. I'm an ordinary person, and even I could do better than what the character on the screen is doing. Which could be damaging to their immersion and not feel good to play. And after playing the demo, my opinion is that this new system is a big improvement. It feels more fun to
Same
move
stagger
and to
system,
play.
it looks like.
And this won't necessarily make the game easier. There is still a big focus on commitment, and according to the devs, the enemies will
hold
be
on a
balanced
second.
around your new found. Is that this new system is a big improvement. It feels more
Are we
fun to
seeing-
move and to play.
So it still
this
looks
won't
like
necessarily
enemies
make the
only
game
actually
easier.
stagger once
There is
they're at
still a big
half
focus
poise.
on commitment, and according to the devs,
See,
the enemies will be balanced around your new found.
the dagger has an actual moveset
Let's
now.
talk about some significant changes. In Outward 1, there were only specific things you can equip to your offhand. In your offhand, you could have a shield, you can have a pistol, you can have a lantern. But in this game, those trinket items are no longer just trinket items. You can equip them in any hand.
Holy
dual
shit, you
wield
can
too.
actually dual wield.
So you could have 2 swords, a
Oh
sword and a
my
dagger,
god, that's so
2
fucking
shields.
exciting.
There weren't any pistols in the demo, but presumably you'd be able to dual wield pistols if you
They
wanted.
added a punch
This
attack for the
change
shields.
affects the way things are
They added a punch.
Why is that
They
able to dual
added-
wield
look,
pistols if you wanted.
they
This
added a
change
punch.
affects the way things are controlled a bit. Assuming you're using a PlayStation controller,
That's
the weapon that
fantastic.
you have on your left hand is tied to your square button, and the weapon that you have in your right hand is tied to the X button. Pressing the button will
It looks
do
like
that
they're able to
weapon's normal
actively
attack,
use
and
different
holding it
combos
down
now
will
for
do
each
its
weapon as well.
alternate
That's
heavy
really
attack.
cool.
Each weapon has 2 different heavy attacks. For example, if you do a heavy attack with the sword, it will do a forward lunge. If you do another heavy attack right after, it will slash at the enemy and dodge backwards.
That is honestly a
Continuously
way
doing
better, like, evasive
the enemy and dodge
material for that back hop. I was
backwards.
gonna say, the clothing looks a
It will
lot
slash
better.
at the enemy and dodge back.
Okay, I'm gonna just reinstall this piece of shit.
Okay, have fun. Have fun, don't die.
No, I'm not.
Everything about this so far just looks...
Another
the
heavy attack right
clothing-
after, it will
The
slash at the
clothing
enemy
looks a
and
lot
dodge
better in
backwards.
this game.
Continuously doing heavy attacks will alternate between the forward lunge and the backward
Like,
slice.
a lot better.
You can also go into the backward slice attack by doing a light attack and then
So before the heavy attack for the sword and shield, or like any sword at all, was a side slash, which it was still good for like evasion, but like the back hop is honestly going to be a lot better, I think. It depends on how they balance their enemies and how much forward momentum they have in all of their attacks. But the back, like, the problem with the side slash is a lot of times enemies, when they attack, they'd have long, heavy weapons or, like, limbs that were just big. Because the enemies were big. So you would try to use the side slash to actually, like, as an evasion, essentially. But you would still get clipped by, like, a long arm or a pole arm or something else. So I think that's just a good change all around. Also, the fact that Dagger has actual combos now is really great. And obviously, listen, I dual wield in like every game I play.
Two
They added
shields.
dual wielding swords.
There were-
It's over for
affects
me.
the way things are controlled a bit.
It's fucking over.
Backward slice. You can also go into the backward slice attack by doing a light attack and then doing a heavy right after.
Yeah,
This
so that's
makes
the
dual
basic
wielding
combo.
very interesting in this game, because you have access to the full range of moveset for both weapons in each of your hand. I found great use in pairing the sword with a dagger. The
Yeah,
dagger
there is
attacks
no
quickly and it doesn't
reason
use much stamina, but
Not
it has
to
a
dual
short
wield
range,
anymore.
which paired nicely with the sword's lunge attack, which let me close distances quickly when I needed to. The sword also paired very nicely with the mace, since I could use the sword to close the
The
distance and
combat
then use
looks
the
so much
mace's
better.
heavy attacks to do heavy stagger damage to the enemy.
So the thing I'm noticing right off the bat,
Close the distance and then use
take a look
the
at that.
Use the sword to close the distance and then use the
That is like a Bloodborne-esque hop. That is not like a combat roll. That is a genuine like a dash almost.
paired very nicely with the mace.
Which I honestly,
Since I
I
could use
prefer games that have the dash to the combat roll. The only game that I like that still has like the roll system is like Monster Hunter. Like I'm getting like I like Elden Ring and Dark Souls and all of them. But I've said this before, Bloodborne is my favorite FromSoft game. It doesn't have the roll, it has the dash. And I really, really think that most games have trouble pulling off rolling with fast-paced combat. This will allow the game to feel a lot quicker. It allows for, yeah, exactly. That's
the
exactly
sword
what I'm
to
saying
close
too.
the distance and then use the mace's heavy attacks to do heavy
Also,
stagger
I mean, this
damage
looks
to the enemy.
fantastic so far.
The stagger
I
system
know
is
it's
the same as in the
pre-alpha,
first
but
game. The enemy has a poise meter, and so long as that meter
a
is
hive
full,
lord.
they have hyper armor for all of their attacks. The poise will go down as you attack it.
okay, so
Once
it is
the
the
stagger
same.
meter hits 50%,
Alright.
they'll be staggerable by all of your attacks.
Okay, so it's the exact same. The poise meter starts full, no stagger until half, and then once they get to half, then they'll start staggering. So it is still the same poise. I wonder if they're going to include kick again as a starting thing, because kick in the first outward is so broken. It's like actually absurd.
Until finally it depletes entirely and they fall to the ground, letting you get a bunch of damage in. And when they get back up, their poise meter will be full again. Particularly useful for breaking the enemy's poise is the shield. In the first game, the shield was
God damn.
useful for
That
breaking
poise
the enemy's
damage.
poise is the shield.
Look at that.
In the first game, the shield was one of the special trinkets you could have in your offhand, and it needed you to have a skill equipped to use it to attack. But in Outward 2, you don't need to have any special skills with it. If the shield is in your left hand, you press the square button, and it'll
That
do
is-
a shield bash,
so
which
it's
does
just a
low
standard
damage, but
attack
high
now?
stagger damage.
Holy shit, that's massive.
Left hand, you press the square button, and it'll
Oh,
do a
shield
bash,
players are going to be eating
which
fucking
does
well.
low damage, but high stagger
That's
damage.
nuts.
And if you hold down the button to do a heavy attack, the shield will do a charge and then a shield bash, which lets you cross some distance and stagger the
That's
enemy
really
even
good.
more.
So I'm noticing here, look, the icon's changed. So is that depending on These are abilities here. Are there only 4? There are 4, but there looks like there's a hold as well. Second ability underneath them. You can't really see it because of my head, but there's a grayed out one. I wonder if you hold it. So are we gonna have 16 hotkeys now instead of just 8? Because that would be really fucking
Lets you
nice.
cross some distance and stagger the enemy even more. There is also two-handed weapons. In the demo, I had a spear. You can't dual-wield two-handed weapons.
Right.
Instead, their movesets are expanded. In addition to their normal light and heavy attacks, they'll have access to 2 other attacks by pressing the left-handed button.
Okay, that's
Square
pretty
will
neat.
back them off and do a forward poke, and holding down square will do a heavier
So
diagonal
two-handed
strike.
weapons have extra move.
Since you can't have a second weapon
extra
or a
move
shield when
sets.
two-handing, the heavy weapon
I am noticing right off the bat, if we're gonna look at the environment, a lot of these. So in the Sorobor, you had trains that ran off the ley lines or whatever. That to me looks like ley energy for the minecart, which is interesting. I'm also looking to see any faction banners here. I don't see any I recognize
Since you can't
yet.
have a second expanded weapons.
This is all hive shit. And we saw a hive lord earlier. Like this is a hive lord here.
Hyper armor for all of their attacks.
So
The poise will go down as you attack.
we know for a fact there's gonna be hive lords and hivers again.
The shield was
This
one of the
is the
special
hive
trinkets
guy.
you could have in your offhand, and it needed you to have, which does low on the button to do a heavy attack. The shield. There is also two-handed weapons in the
I'm sorry I keep pausing. I'm looking to see if I recognize any of these faction banners. That I'm also checking to see if we have any of the crystals with the scourge beasts in them. This just looks like a water tower though.
There is also two-handed
Looks like some
weapons.
sort of
In
mine.
the demo, I had a spear. You can't dual-wield two-handed weapons. Access to heavier diagonal strike.
Are they keeping the same rune language? Yeah, they are. Those are the runes of the first game. It looks like. I can't. So that is either an N or an M. I can't read that one. I can't read that one. It's too blurry. I can't read that one. But these two, I think, are either N's or M's. So I'm not sure
Do a
what
heavier
that says.
diagonal strike. Since you can't have a second weapon or a shield when two-handing, the heavy weapons are compensated with a more complex moveset.
That's pretty neat.
Another big change is the way that dodging works. Pressing dodge will do a short-range step dodge, and double-tapping the roll button will have you do a more
Okay.
traditional dodge roll. Both of these dodges have iframes, but they're useful for different reasons. The light dodge doesn't take up much stamina, and you can use it to stay close to
Oh, right here. Wait. So those are N's. The animations look so much better. I think that's an A, so A-N-N. That's another A. A-N-N-A. I don't know if that might be E. A-N-N-E-A. This one I don't know, unfortunately. That one I'm not really positive on. The developers are French, though, so it's probably a French word.
it to stay close to your enemy. And you can step dodge freely even when carrying your backpack. The roll is safer. I believe it has more iframes. The distance is longer, putting you safely out of enemy attacks.
Yeah, the animations are
And you
much
can use
better.
it to close distances and attack quickly. It's
So-
safer. I believe it has more iframes. You can use it to stay close and step dodge freely even when carrying your backpack.
I don't know if this one's true. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Even
This right here, this looks like a dodge backpack to me. I need to see him test it with a bigger backpack. Because to me, this looks like a big backpack.
light
Or a
attack.
small backpack.
And you can use it to close distances even when carrying your
See how
backpack.
small that one is?
Backpack.
That to me looks like the assassin backpack or whatever, which lets you dodge roll, without being hindered at all. I am of the opinion that this might be a backpack specific thing for that backpack. This is just me guessing because I obviously haven't played it. But I'm gonna assume because the problem with if they remove that system is the fat roll was such an integral part to the game. You didn't want to have your backpack on in combat. You wanted to drop it in combat. That I feel like it would be a little weird to remove that, but I guess we'll see.
The roll is safer. I believe it has more iframes. The distance is longer, putting you safely out of enemy attacks.
That does eat a lot more stamina.
And you can use it to close distances and attack quickly, since you have a new attack when coming out of a dodge roll. And the attack transitions smoothly into your normal light attacks. But it has the trade-off of using a lot more stamina, and you won't
the
be able to
cripple
use
back.
it effectively
I remember
with your
that.
backpack on. Skills work the same way as they did in Outward 1. You can quick slot them, and they go on a short cooldown after use. In the
this is
demo, I
the
had
skill
access to
slots.
3 skills. The Fire Sigil,
Fire Sigil right off the bat. This is an old one. This is like one of the first things you'd get in the first Outward game.
Spark, and a charge attack.
Spark for the fireball.
The Sigil and Spark work the same way as in the first game. Cast the Sigil on the ground while you have a Firestone in your inventory.
And you can use
and then you can use
fireball,
Spark to
right.
cast a Fireball. But the charge attack is new. It also interacts with the Sigil. When used together, the charge attack will also do an explosion on the enemy and leave a trail
that's
of fire
neat.
behind you. The demo only had those 3 skills to play with, but notably the number of quick slots we have access to is now double.
I've seen that.
In Outward
We have a
1, we had
lot more quick slots. We got 16 here, it looks
Quick
like.
slots, and
I was
they
just
were
saying
accessed
that
by
earlier.
pressing either R2 or L2, and one of the face buttons, and that would let us
That
either
means
use
build
a skill
variety is
or
gonna
an
get
item that we
crazy in
had
this
bound
game.
to that quick slot.
Your builds are gonna be
But now
fucking
instead of just the
nuts.
face buttons, you can also use the directional buttons,
Oh, that is
which
so
doubles the
exciting.
number of total quick slots we have access to. This is a really great change. Easier
Yeah,
quick
this is
for certain
fantastic.
battles.
Because that
Or to-
means that now we can actually equip items and shit to our quick slots. Before, if you were doing certain builds, you just were not able to do that.
let us switch weapons and have skills for want to use such a needed addition. All in all, I think the demo did
It's
its
like a-
job.
looks like a
I'm very
hive
impressed
lantern.
with the way combat, happy with the changes. And maybe more importantly, I think a lot of people that were interested in Outward 1, but bounced off because of its clunkier gameplay, will find the sequel a lot more appealing.
Yeah, so far this looks
Anyway,
better in every single
that's the end
way.
of this video.
At least in terms of
I'll
combat.
be keeping an eye out and making more content for this game as more information gets revealed and we get closer to release. But until then, thank you very much for watching.
This looks like a... Okay, so right off the bat, I'm gonna go back through and point out some things, and then I'm gonna hop on World with the boys. We have ruins here. This is the first thing I noticed while watching the trailer. So I don't know if these are Trog homes or what.
To show the difference in
I thought this area was interesting here. I'm also noticing this here are these like wind chime-esque things. I have to wonder if these have to do with the wind the cabal of the wind tower or whatever. I really do have to fucking wonder that, because the wind tower is pretty big. However, we also saw a boat at Vendavel Fortress with a circle like this that did wind magic into the sea. It looked like it was meant to do like wind magic into the sails and push the boat along, so that's also interesting. And it looks like they have some sort of glowing thread. I'm assuming these are ley line threads, essentially. That's really interesting. The game looks a lot
the
better
sequel. Will
than the first game.
it has
This looks interesting. More ruins of some
no map
sort.
mark. When I asked about this
That was the mine. This is a giant, so there's giants for sure back. I'm also looking at the environment here. This is like a jungle.
change, the developers explained that
Crouching's back, so there's probably going to be some degree of stealth like in the first game. This looks almost jungle-esque in terms of like the look. And then you have like a desert beyond it.
to their immersion and it was more fun to move and
Let's really quickly, I'm just kind of scrolling through to see anything else that pops out immediately. I already talked about the ley line. The signs, I already tried to read those, but again, I'm not as proficient in the languages as I used to be. I don't really see any faction banners I recognize.
all to the group for
And obviously this is all Hive Lord shit.
their moveset
You can see the honeycombs and stuff. Fuck. We'll try to see if there's anything else. Not many NPCs in this area, so this makes me think this area is probably like a dungeon entrance. Especially because you have like the pipes and stuff. This looks like the entrance to some sort of dungeon. And then obviously, I wish I could read that sign. I don't know the language to the degree I used to, but it'd be fantastic if I could. I might go back through and translate it on my own later. And post something in the Discord if I can translate it. I really like the quick slot changes, also in terms of the items right here. Looks like we have Gaberries returning. The Gay Berries. This is the the Spice Beetle, I believe is the name of it. You got your Plague Shield, bandages. It looks like that might be the new water skin / water canteen. Either that or that's an elixir. That might be an elixir. And then these are astral potions, it looks like. So a lot of the same items here. I think that's the water canteen. That looks like a flint. And then wood here. I don't know what this item is. That's interesting. Stamina potion, probably, I'm assuming. Looks like a rapier of some sort. With a dagger. Meat or something? I can't really tell what that is. My resolution's not letting me see that. I don't know what this is either. Some sort of plant. The combat looks so much better.
And just a fan too. Very happy with the changes. We're interested in a lot more appealing. That's the end of this video.
Yeah, overall, I think this looks a lot better. Kind of my final thoughts on this before we hop on the world. Looks really, really good. I do worry a little bit when it comes to the game abandoning some of its, like, survival elements. Like, for example, the backpack change, I really hope that's not actually the case. I really hope the fat roll is still there. If you're actually, holding, like, a full-size backpack. Now, this backpack that he's showing it off with to me, I don't think he's right about that. I think that this is a specific thing to the backpack. And in fact, that might be what this sign is about. It might be talking about backpacks. Because the backpack's hanging up beside it. That's the one thing I really hope is not the case, but this backpack looks small enough. It looks like one of the small backpacks. It's called a Nomad's backpack, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious about how the survival elements are going to stay in. Like hot and cold weather and everything. We haven't seen anything with that yet. So, I am a little curious with that. I hope those elements stay in the game, because they're really what made Outward unique to any other, just action RPG. Dealing with things like corruption and heat and cold and all that. So, anyways, those are my little thoughts on it. I'm very excited. I love Outward, so I think it's a fantastic game, and I really am excited for the second game. I'm really fucking excited.